we do here comes from a loose lock triangle, starting in a loose lock triangle. So it's very okay just to start in close guard. If your tummy's having little tummy issues, you got some tummy turmoil, you can just stuff the hand down and cross your ankles. No big deal, right? It's dumb, but you can do that if you want. You guys need to do whatever you want to do. If you want to do the first drill I'm going to do, we're going to add a little bit of an inversion to it. So, but if anybody farts, I'm going to laugh really loud.
What?
And you'll have to get an immediate new partner. So here's what we're going to do, right? We're going to do a leg lace triangle. And this happens when somebody goes to a very specific pass, and it's this leg lace pass. All right, so this is the feed. My partner's gonna put their hand on the ground, just like this. All I'm gonna do is let her continue to pass my guard by kicking her over. Womp. My hand's gonna go under her armpit. I'm gonna invert over. She's gonna put both of her arms in. I switch sides. Hands on the floor. Reach for the armpit. Like a fucking ballerina. If you don't point your toes, you have to leave. That's all we're doing, right? Nice and mellow. My foot's gonna guide the whole way. This foot never leaves her armpit. Watch, it tracks me, it pulls me. Really, really easy. No bubble gut gonna happen. Ready? Go! You guys can enter your triangles however you want to enter it, okay? I don't care how you enter the triangle. So I'm not going to teach how to do that. I'm just showing you that's how I enter triangles often. So what that leads to, almost always, what we call a loose lock triangle, right? An ankle cross triangle. And this is where most triangles pit stops. So in this scenario, she's going for this leg lace pass. I'm framing, keep from cross facing. My toes are actually to the ground. My hands are going to go inside of her armpit. I'm going to pull her to the triangle, okay? We're not gonna teach that though. We're right here, right? Loose lock triangle. So the whole point of this is to show the progression of submissions that go from our loose lock triangle to attacking the defending arm to attacking the choke, okay? We're gonna have like four or five submissions the whole way through. So the first one we're always gonna do is our teepee triangle, right? It's really simple. It's definitely kind of like a parlor trick, but it works. So what happens is she's defending the right way by hiding her arm. She powers into me, right? She's trying to keep her right shoulder off her right ear. That's the goal of the triangle. So all I'm gonna do is align my shoulders and my hips with her shoulders and her hips, meaning that if they were parallel lines, they wouldn't intersect. So if she goes high left shoulder and I'm flat here, now we're almost perpendicular, it's not gonna work, okay? I'm trying to get myself put to where our shoulders are parallel. So drop a little bit. From here, I just go behind my legs, keep my ankles crossed, go 10-finger grip. I'm gonna extend my arms to the ceiling, my legs to the ceiling, pinching with my arms, getting that choke. It becomes a clean choke when we have that parallel shoulders, right? When she starts turning and looking away from me, that's where it becomes real cranky and people don't often tap the cranks. So let's try to make it a clean blood choke. Right, so we found our loose lock triangle. If we want to do our little rodeo thing here, do a little rodeo thing, and catch. She gets down nice and low and defends. I go behind my knee pits. Fingers come together, nice and tall, slow pressure all the way. Hey, you shoot. Sure. This is great for big guys. Oftentimes I can't go to a figure four with a big guy, but I can get to a loose lock, right? So he hunkers down. So we'll elbows to the mat. Give me some, yeah. I reach behind. Nice, slow progression. Get our tap.
I hate that.
That's terrible. No one likes this.
It's terrible.
You can go home and spam your gym. All right, should we try that first?
Let's go.
All right, so this is just one step along the pathway for the triangle I'll almost always touch base with because it doesn't cost me anything. Meaning when it fails, I don't lose position, right? And usually I can get a pretty good crank on it. It gets pretty nasty and pretty tight, but it still is a very technical choke, okay? If I have my partner here, Samantha, and with our triangle, with your leg lace in, swim under. If this leg is too high up on her shoulder, it gets cranky. If this leg is too high up on her ear, it gets cranky. So I'm looking to really have them drive and defend. So the more she hammers into me here, now I'm settling in more, right? And the grip gets easier to get because she's giving me forward pressure, which is not wrong, right? She's defending well here. Her arm is safe. She's hiding her in danger arm by going gable grip behind my butt. She's hunkering down. This is the feed I get from most guys who are much larger than me, right? And it makes it easier for me to grip even on a bigger guy, right? I get behind, I'm settling in here. If I go, I almost throw her out of position. So I'm nice and slow, and I'm not trying to be nice to her. It's just a more efficient choke. And I'm settling in, and I'm kind of extending and giving her a little bit. We can't forget that the reality is we're just fighting skin over artery, right? It shouldn't have to pop their head off, but I'm gonna give them some pretty good pressure. And typically we would say, what this allows me to do is at least compress the trap, the inside shoulder to her ear, which oftentimes gives me the space to get to my figure four, right? So that's why I started doing it. I was finding the submission in the teepee, but the problem is, once I get to here, the trapped arm is still in the way, right? We have inside triangles, we have outside triangles, right? So this is an inside triangle, we're on the inside arm. If I switch this to an outside triangle, the whole shape of my body is now changed, and I'm leaning more towards this trapped arm. If I try to attack Samantha's right arm from an inside triangle, I'm like fighting myself. So it's really hard to attack this arm with this shape of a triangle. So I always will cover the head, switch, and then lock over the free shoulder. This gives me a lot more access to her grip on her right side. All right, so we were in a loose lock triangle. Maybe our TP allowed us to get to a regular figure four on the inside triangle. If it did, we're still gonna switch it. And don't forget, throughout this whole process, if my training partner's trapped arm is across my body, I do none of this. We go to a regular triangle, right? This is only when they're defending the right way. Turn. So I switch to my outside triangle to trap over the free shoulder. Now I'm gonna bridge up and I'm gonna slide my hand down my butt crack, okay? I'm gonna bridge up and slide all the way here. Now, if she's holding really tight with two hands, she can never flatten my juicy butt. It's always gonna have a crack in it. So I'm gonna find that crack and kind of credit card myself. All right? And then I'm gonna slide slowly and get elbow pit to elbow pit. Okay? So I got it nice and tight. I'm bringing my thumb to my chin, which is a reoccurring theme for my submission. I go gable grip here, and I'm gonna shrug my shoulder to keep her arm bent. Now, I'm gonna compress with either a gable grip or I go to a rear naked choke grip. Either one's fine, but I won't go to a true kimura grip, right? It's really hard to grab wrist control here and break the grip. It's almost impossible. So I slide into that butt crack, boom. Now we're trapped right here. Now, if I try to pull her grip apart with my hands, I'm pretty weak. So I'm gonna compress everything, lock this in. Now, if I add tension through my legs and my hands come off my face, I get nothing. So my head stays nice and close to here. I'm gonna lock my arms in like ratchet straps. I'm gonna push her away. All right, my hands never come off my face. Now I start adding that torque. All right, so it is a kimura for sure. We just have a different grip on it. I usually will hit this from this grip right here. The problem is this grip allows for my hands to slacken with my legs get active. This grip will really force me to do the right thing. I'm really tight from here. So straighten your arm. It's really hard to straighten her arm from here. Right, we have an answer if they straighten their arm, but for now, let's try to find this kimura. When I kimura, remember I'm locking my ratchet straps to my face. I'm gonna try and pull her humerus, upper arm bone, off her body before I add any rotation. So all the slack comes out of the joint, and then a small rotation finishes it. If I relax my legs, it's a big rotation to finish. When I add this tension, it's right away. Okay? Eric, can I use you? That's for Matt. All right, so we switch to our outside lock. He's defending well. Okay? I bridge up and I credit card myself, walk my hands out to here. All right, so give me a strong grip. Okay? And here's what we test this to failure. Meaning, Aaron should be really making me fail. Give me like a legit feed here, or else I'm faking this. Once I find the grip, cable grip, rear naked choke grip, lock it in. Right there. It's a really tight kimura. Right? I'm still trying to choke him. Right? I'm still strangling, but it's really hard to strangle from an outside kimura or outside triangle. So, loose lock. He defends. Switch my bite to an outside triangle. Credit card myself. Walk this arm out. Get elbow pit to elbow pit. Find your grip. Lock it in like a ratchet strap. Now your legs are gonna pull away. There's our break. How'd that feel? All right?
Yeah, great.
Good? But I mean it. Test it to failure. Okay? Try to make your guard player not be able to break your grip. That's the only way this is real. So be an asshole. Don't defend any other way. Only defend with your grip. Here's the scary part. If it's done correctly, most guys will tap before the grip break happens, because the shoulders are under so much load that when it lets loose, it tends to spiral really fast. So make sure you're verbally tapping, because the tension should be so much that when that hand's ready to go, it's scary. Make sense? Go try that. Ready? Go clap. All right, got the claims you? Good. So, lots of details here. This is probably my most effective submission I have from a triangle. I will typically say that the last thing I want to do from a triangle is strangle somebody. Right? The arm locks are so effective once you realize how the shoulder works. And that really is the crux of it. Even like triangle arm bars, I'm not a big believer in them because people do them so poorly. Right? I have to control the caps of her shoulders and compress everything. So even though I'm not trying to strangle you, oftentimes I'll say, well, you tap to what? And they go, all of it. It all fucking sucked. Like my big toe hurt. And like, that's what I want. I want the whole body to be like red flags everywhere. I love red flags.
And red sandals.
We found our triangle. We understand that if I want to get access to the trapped arm, a traditional triangle will always turn me away from it, right? And it's hard to grab it. When I go this way, I can go. The problem is, as cavemen, we want to grab it with our hands, but I can't grab it there. And that's why I slide in. I'm nice and mellow here, right? She can defend. It might take me a minute to get that arm in deep. I'm not in a hurry here. Sliding nice and deep. If we're sweaty, it's easier. If it's going to gi, it's harder. Okay? Once I find my bite, I'm actually going to use my bicep and my shoulder to kind of crunch her forearm towards her body. That's okay. She wants that to happen. Okay? She does not want a straight arm here. So she wants to keep her grip together. But this has to be like, if there's one takeaway from this lesson, it's this. If I have control over somebody with my arms and my face is close to that limb, if I move my face away without taking the arm with me, I've moved without gaining any tension. Okay? And this is really, really apparent if I have an ankle lock. All right, this is like the best way to see this. If I have an ankle lock and everything looks really good, my hands are nice and high, and I lean back and they go down to my hips, I've moved, but I haven't gained any tension on the ankle, right? Every submission, this is the exact same thing. I keep it high, right? Fuck tap. That's what I want to hear, right? If I have an arm bar, look. Yeah, but keep it nice and close. Every submission is the same, right? I think about all these submissions. Everything we do is my arms are to strap you to me. My legs are to force the break, not the other way around. So if I have a loose lock triangle, move to my outside triangle, swim my credit card myself, it feels so good. Find this, right? I lock it all nice and tight. Some of the big guys had a hard time getting to a figure or getting to this rear naked choke. That's okay. Just get better in your gable grip. It still works, right? But the break happens when I try to pull her arm off her body, right? That's what I need to feel. There shouldn't be this big hand behind the back exposure. If I go traditional kimura here, that's what happens. We start pushing like this. And it gets wonky because she knows she can straighten her arm. When I switch to this modified grip here, It's much more difficult. I'm gonna scissor her arm down and keep it bent. All right, this is a really strong way to do this. But it's not perfect, okay? She has an out. And that out is, well, she has two outs, right? The first out is I can't break the grip. All right, if I can't break the grip, I have to move on and try something else. But if I can break the grip, but she's quick, she'll go to a straight arm, right? So I'll break the grip, she'll straight arm. All right, now we go to our violin armbar. And so I caught it with my head. I don't want her to go all the way past my head, but if she does, she's going back into regular triangle territory, right? So I have my kimura grip, I crank it, and it slides right into my neck. And I'm catching her like this, right? When I teach violin arm bars, we will often have people just bite with the hand and try to get like a submission like this, without even using my arm. Because I'm gonna pinch so tight with my head, I'm gonna try and break her bones in her hand. And I'm gonna drive her away and start leaning. Now, it's under so much tension. Maybe a choke too. She farted.
No, I didn't.
So, she didn't. I've never heard her fart. 15 years ago, I've never heard her fart one time. Whatever. So, we catch nice and tight from here. Here's the biggest thing, guys. Violin arm bars are very, very, very nuanced, and they're very particular. I've got this ball of my radius here, right? This little knuckle. And it fits perfectly into where our funny bone is. There's a little cavity right there above the elbow. Everybody has it. It's just below the tricep, above the elbow. It's a nice little void. If I put that in that void, I can steer her arm very well. I'm gonna find that. So I'm gonna reach over. I'm gonna get my gable grip again. And I'm gonna steer her hand this way. Now again, my arms become ratchet straps. I clench everything. I drive her away with my legs to finish it. Okay? If I just pull down with my arms, I get to where my body's in the way and I can't go any farther. So I hold this crunch and I get tension with my arms and I just drive away with my legs for the tap. Okay? So, loose lock triangle, she hunkers down. Grab my leg. If I grab my foot, I can't triangle anybody. All right? I'm stuck. Even if I'm out here, I grab my foot, I can't put it back in, right? So I grab my shin, now there's always room. My forearm is also gonna crank her head towards the shoulder. If I can get my heel over top of her trap, over her collarbone, that's where she's the thinnest. That gives me a good bite. But if I grab here, I can't move anything, I'm trapped. So I'm gonna grab my shin, compress, pull. Now I credit card myself and I go for our first kimura grip. And I rotate, but she's straight arms. I capture it. I'm already there, right? I'm pretty good at finding that hole.
Can you stop doing that?
Oh, I'm sorry, you dying?
It hurts so bad.
Okay? But watch, if I do this grip, I just have my legs relaxed and my head's relaxed, it's really hard to get a finish. There you go. The second I engage, I'm actually gonna pinch my knees, hamstring curl, pinch my neck, find that hole, and then drive away with my legs. That's where the big break pressure comes from, right? Most people have given up on the violin arm because it's hard to finish because your body's in the way. I do a nice tight crunch, keep my core activated, control the shoulders via my triangle, lock my arms in like ratchet straps, and extend myself away using my hips to break. It's a much more efficient break. Make sense? I'm gonna give you guys longer for this one because it's a little bit more complicated, even though it's very simple. It's like 2 steps. But those 2 steps are very unique and very important. Cool? Let's do it. Ready? All right, so this is going to be, quick and easy for a lot of you guys. Some of you guys aren't going to get this last part, or that almost last part. That's okay, right? The Americana is kind of tricky to feel from there, but it probably is my top 5 submission that I do. That limp leg triangle, attacking that Americana, right? And it's cool because people like to hunker down from there to defend the triangle, right? Usually, if Samantha, you're next, but if Samantha triangles me, right? If Samantha triangles me, it's not wrong for me to come here, right? To defend this. And so I'm not asking a lot. I'm asking for you to defend appropriately and to keep this position here. So I'm not strangling you, okay? I can keep turning my head out, right? Start coming all kinds of ways. But I find this happens a lot, right? Even really skilled guys, they put the elbows on the mat, they turn themselves that way, they hunker down, right? So this is an appropriate defense action reaction that's dependent upon an intelligent opponent, not the guy at the gas station, right? The guy at the gas station, we just beat with white belt shit, right? Or if you want to be cool, you berimbolo a guy at the gas station. You're on YouTube, you're a fucking billionaire, right? So if I have a big guy like Aaron, last action reaction we're gonna see, right? So I've gotten to my leg triangle. He's hunkering down. I'm attacking the arm. Bring my body to it, nice and tight. I gotta figure out, usually for me, I want Aaron's hand to be on my top side shoulder. So I comes to it, hey, get that grip break. Another one of those scary grip breaks, right? But once the grip breaks, Aaron has a really good defense here, right? He drives into me. Now that's when I come underneath him. Here. Okay? So he wants to get his hands back together. He drives forward, I let go, underhook, and start spiraling in. So I will never do a head pull triangle. All right? It's just super inefficient for me, for my body. A lot of guys teach it. Francesco Fonte taught it just recently in Estonia, and he said, "What'd you think of my class?" I said, "I fucking hated it." Because I'm honest, right? It's just not my thing. It works quite well for him. It's just not my thing, right? So I will always think about this. I want to carry his trapped shoulder as close to his free shoulder and torque him in this direction as possible, right? This is really like the corkscrew of the corkscrew triangle. It's trying to wind somebody up. I think it works because the people try to stack me from here, right? They want to drive into me and make me feel uncomfortable, right? But I'm always comfortable. So I attack the arm, I break the grip, so he drives in. I'm underhooking here. Yeah? So my triangle happens when I spiral his head and I kind of contort him this direction. This leg is driving really heavy into the back of his head, and I'm trying to get my my shins parallel. Right? My shins are perpendicular right now. Simply by driving and getting parallel shins, I get a pretty tight triangle. When I add the leg underhook, it gets really tight. You good?
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah? So
Totally fine.
everything happens because he responds intelligently. I break the grip, drives in. There we go. Yeah? So allow the person to drive into you, because that's gonna happen. The grip break hand comes under the leg, my butt goes up in the air, and I finish it here. And the closer I can get to their thigh, the better it's gonna be. A tight compression, I get parallel parallel shins and parallel thighs. That's how we close this triangle. Pulling my heels to my butt will never make this triangle pretty small. But when I turn this direction, it's really nice. It's nice and small. His head really can't fit too well in that pocket. That's what I want. Here it's hard to close that triangle. Here it's good. Nice and tight. Swallow their fucking soul. Cool. Last piece. Go try it. Ready? Okay, so a lot happened, right? We have submissions everywhere. This is typically how I teach. I do like information overload. My goal is like 15% retention. Lewis is high as hell. She's gonna get none of this. Samantha, come here, please. So just to close this up, right? My job is gonna be to be very passive when I roll with you until it's time to start killing you, and then I'm gonna go kill. And it's really difficult to go from defending to being offense. I'm trying to keep you on your toes. I'm trying to keep you defending the whole way. So I'm trying to find these like 360-degree submissions from every position I can find, right? And so we started off with our little inverted triangle. This works well for me because I do a lot of overhook game. So people hate underhooking me, so go back. So they hate this underhook. So I'll start doing this mousetrap bullshit, right? And they fucking hate it. So people tend to give me a leg lay speed. So I like this a lot, right? So they go leg lay speed, and I'm gonna kind of kick them over my guard. I'm still defensive from here, right? This is still a strong guard. I'm very active and very mobile, but as she pressures into me heavy, I swim underneath, I pull her armpit to my butt, I cross my legs, now we're in our loose lock triangle. Right? From here, she hunkers down immediately. I square my shoulders up. Nice and slow compression here. It's not to be nice, okay? It's not to be nice. It's just to be accurate. I can't just, it's slow, slow compression. It might take 10 seconds. They might not tap at all. If they don't, I've at least reduced the amount of space she has on her trapped shoulder to her trapped ear. So I can grab, go to my outside lock, bridge my hips up to find her wrist via my credit card slot. Go elbow pit to elbow pit. Either gable grip and kind of saw your hands down, or get to a rear naked choke grip. Build tension by keeping your hands to your face and using just your legs to move away. You might get the tap when they still have their grip on. It might break. If the grip breaks, we get our tap by adding a rotation, a slight rotation. Really, it's just me bringing my right shoulder to the mat. I'm not trying to go all the way that way. You shouldn't have to. If you have to, your tension's not under, it's not tight enough, okay? From here, she defends by straightening her arm. I go right to this violin. My snuff box finds her nerve hole there. I go to my gable grip. Again, my hands become ratchet straps. I pull her in, I anchor. I use my legs to drive away to get my finish by crunching up. But she limp arms through, she hates this. I go to my spiral grip and I pull straight into our limp leg triangle. This controls posture. From here, her hands come together to defend. I lace underneath, attack the grip, bridge forward, and get our Americana break. She hates this. She drives forward. I know what's happening. I'm underneath her, and I'm getting my shins parallel and trying to drive her head basically to her knee, right? Once this really tight accordion kind of pressure from here, nice and tight from there, we get our submission. If they're still defending, you're terrible at all of this. It's not my fault. Yeah? Any questions to close?
You want to go limp leg triangle?
I prefer to go limp leg triangle. I told this group here, Samantha will tell you that it's a lesser triangle against her. I find that it works better if the person's your size or larger. If they're significantly smaller than you, it's kind of hard to get a clean choke from it. But most of my triangles become shoulder and arm locks anyway, you know? And so that whole series, the last thing we do was strangle somebody, you know? And so I tend to always go there, unless it's somebody who's smaller than me, which is hard to find. Yeah? Anybody else? No questions too dumb, Frankie?
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming to this late class. I really didn't know what to expect. Everyone has bubble gut. That's okay. Let's get a picture real quick in front of that main sign. Please be between the U in USA and the E in Maine. That way you can have a nice tight picture. So cram in like you know each other. Thank you guys.